The story begins with a young man named Light Turner, an ordinary high school student who doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the kids at school. He's smart, but also quiet. One afternoon, the sky above suddenly begins to change. The weather grows wild, strong winds sweep across the ground, and out of nowhere, a book falls from the sky. That book lands right in front of Light. Curious, he picks it up and holds it in his hands. The cover is plain, but written across it are the words Death Note. Light doesn't know what this means, but he decides to keep the book. As the wind dies down, heavy rain begins to pour. Light rushes inside, but on his way he spots a bully from his school, violently beating up another boy for no reason. Light can't just walk past, so he steps in and tries to stop him. The bully doesn't care. He punches Light hard, knocking him down along with his bag. When the teacher arrives, instead of punishing the bully, he finds other students' homework scattered from Light's bag. It's revealed that Light has been doing assignments for kids who pay him, a side hustle that now gets him dragged straight to the principal's office. As punishment, Light is left alone in a detention room, bruised and frustrated. He sits quietly, replaying the fight in his mind, when his eyes drift to the strange book he found earlier. He opens it carefully, and as he flips through the pages, he realizes it isn't an ordinary notebook at all. Inside are countless rules written in detail. The words claim that this book is centuries old and carries terrifying power. The first rule is chilling. The human whose name is written in this note shall die. Not only that, but the owner can also choose how the victim dies, as long as it's something physically possible. They're written neatly, like commandments. It holds power, the kind of power no human should ever possess. At first, Light thinks this is some kind of twisted joke. Light also feels uneasy as he reads. But then suddenly, the atmosphere around him changes again. Out of the corner of his eye, Light sees something move. When he turns, he is horrified. A figure steps out of the shadows. Its skin is sharp and jagged, its eyes glowing, and its grin wide and monstrous. Light freezes, terrified, unable to breathe. But then the creature speaks, and its words reveal the truth. This is not a monster. It is a Shinigami, a god of death, the guardian of the Death Note. The Shinigami explains what the notebook truly is. Whoever possesses it becomes its owner, and that person gains the power to take lives. If you write someone's full name in the notebook while picturing their face, that person will die. You can even choose how they die. Whatever method you write will happen, as long as it's physically possible. The Shinigami tells Light that the book follows strict rules, and that he alone can see the Shinigami because he is the owner now. At first, Light refuses to believe it. Such a thing can't be real. But the Shinigami warns him that he has only 7 days to test the book. If he doesn't write any name, the notebook will leave him and pass to someone else. He urges Light to try it, to see its power for himself. Light looks out the window and spots the same bully who had punched him earlier. He's outside again, harassing another student, laughing cruelly, unaware of what's about to happen. Following the Shinigami's words, Light hesitates for a moment, but then he decides to test the notebook. He carefully writes the bully's name inside the Death Note. For the cause of death, he writes that the boy's head will be crushed. At first, nothing happens, but suddenly, outside the window, the scene changes. 2 vehicles collide with a loud crash. One of them is carrying a load of iron ladders, and as they fly loose, one ladder comes down with deadly force. Just as Light had written, the bully's head is crushed instantly. People scream in shock, and Light sits frozen, horrified at what he has just done. Now there is no doubt left. Light has seen it with his own eyes. The Shinigami was telling the truth. This notebook really holds the power to take lives. His fear grows even stronger. The Shinigami tells Light that with this book, he can do things that no human has ever done before. But he also warns him, if Light does not want to keep it, if he doesn't want to carry such power, the Death Note can easily move on to someone else. That night, Light returns home. There we are introduced to his father, James Turner, who works as a detective. Their relationship seems tense, and then we are shown why. Many years ago, a ruthless criminal murdered Light's mother, but because there was no evidence, the man was never punished. He walked free, smiling, while Light's father stood helpless. This memory burned inside Light, filling him with anger, not just at the criminal, but also at his father, who never avenged his mother. The wound has stayed with him ever since. But now, Light has an idea. With the Death Note in his hands, he no longer has to wait for justice. He opens the book, writes down the name of the criminal, and calmly closes it. That same night, the criminal, who was at a party, laughing with his friends, Suddenly, without warning, he collapses to the ground. His friends rush to him, but it's too late. He dies instantly. When the news of the criminal's death reaches Light and his father, both of them are relieved. For the first time in years, the weight of his mother's murder has been lifted. The broken bond between father and son starts to heal. Light has finally taken revenge, and this feeling convinces him of the Death Note's true purpose. The next day at school, Light sits lost in thought, planning how to use this power. That's when Mia, his best friend, approaches him. Light trusts her completely, so he decides to share his secret. He tells her about the Death Note, explaining that anyone whose name is written in it will die in exactly the way he chooses. At first, Mia laughs it off, refusing to believe something so impossible. But Light is determined to show her. He makes her hold the Death Note and asks her to look at the Shinigami. But the Shinigami says only the keeper of the book can see him. Then he turns on the news, where a live broadcast shows a criminal involved in a violent crime. Light writes the man's name in the notebook, describing that he will die after being struck by a vehicle. A moment later on live television, the criminal steps onto the street and is hit by a speeding car. Just as Light wrote, the man dies instantly. Mia is left speechless, her face pale with shock. But now she understands the truth. Together, she and Light begin to imagine what they could do with this power. They make a plan to wipe out all the criminals, killers, and dangerous people in the world. With endless information available online, it becomes easy for them to find names and faces. And so they begin their mission, writing down names one by one. Slowly, across the world, criminals start dying mysteriously. As their connection grows stronger, they also begin to grow closer physically. During this time, Light also discovers another terrifying truth about the Death Note. The owner can not only decide how a person dies, but also control their actions in the moments before death. This gives him an idea. He chooses a new identity for himself, a name that will spread fear and power across the world: Kira. From then on, whenever he writes someone's name in the notebook, he makes the victim to write Kira before dying, so the authorities know who was behind the death. His goal is simple: to strike fear into the hearts of evil people so that they abandon their crimes and turn towards good, knowing that Kira is always watching. Almost immediately, this name spreads across the world like wildfire. The news explodes. There is a mysterious killer named Kira who is eliminating criminals one by one. To some, Kira is a murderer, but to others, he is a hero, someone cleaning the world of evil. Supporters begin to rise, saying at least now justice is being served, even if by fear. But for the authorities, Kira is nothing but a serial killer who must be stopped. The police quickly realize there is no evidence, no fingerprints, no clues, nothing that could lead to Kira. That's when they call for one of the most brilliant detectives alive, a man who has solved impossible cases before. His name is L. Nobody knows what he looks like or even his real name. He hides behind masks and shadows, but his intelligence is unmatched. The only person who has ever looked behind his mask is his trusted ally, and his field agent, 𝗦𝗃𝗲. Meanwhile, Light and Mia feel unstoppable. Together, they have already killed more than 500 people. But their joy doesn't last long. L appears on live television, boldly challenging Kira to reveal himself, or end his life right there. When nothing happens, he instantly understands the limits of Kira's power. Without a name and a face, he cannot kill. From that moment, the deadly game of cat and mouse truly begins. Since Light's father is also a detective, L includes him in his special team, hoping to reach Kira through him. This shocks Light and Mia, who suddenly realize that L is much more dangerous than they thought. Until now, it was all fun and power, but L's presence makes everything real. Their lives are at risk. At home, Light cautiously asks his father what would happen if Kira were ever caught. His father explains that half the world would demand the death penalty, while the other half would want to study him to understand how he managed it. Either way, Kira would face life in prison or a death sentence. Hearing this only makes Light more afraid. He shares his worries with Mia, saying they should stop now, before things spiral out of control. He knows that suspicion is already falling on him because he has access to his father's files and information. L also tells James that his own son might be behind the killings, that he could be Kira. To confirm his suspicions, L assigns an undercover agent to shadow Light's every move. Realizing this, Light pretends to live normally, hiding his fear. But Mia doesn't share his hesitation. For her, the killings were thrilling. She feels disappointed that Light wants to back down. 𝗟𝗲 has become a wall between them and their dream, yet they cannot get rid of him. They don't know his face, and they don't know his real name, two rules that make it impossible to write his name in the notebook. In frustration, Mia suggests a new plan. She says they should kill all the agents working under 𝗟𝗲. If the detectives begin dying one by one, fear will spread through the task force, and eventually, they will abandon the case. But Light refuses. He is unwilling to kill innocent people, people who have done nothing wrong. No matter how tempting, he draws a line. Reluctantly, Mia agrees to let it go, for now. Meanwhile, 𝗟𝗲 starts noticing strange patterns in the Kira case. He tells James that he is convinced Light is behind the killings, and now all he needs is solid evidence. But James refuses to believe it, thinking 𝗟𝗲 has gone too far. Later, when James talks to his son at home, he avoids mentioning Kira, but Light can sense that his father may also be suspicious. Realizing the risk, Light decides to stop writing names for a while so that no suspicion falls on him. But then something completely unexpected happens. All of the agents who were working under 𝗟𝗲 suddenly commit suicide by jumping from the roof of a tall building. The news spreads everywhere and chaos erupts. Until now, Kira had only been killing criminals, so many people saw him as some kind of savior. But killing innocent police officers changes everything. Now Kira is no longer a hero. He has become a monster who can kill anyone. Light is horrified. He knows he didn't write those names, so who did? He turns to the Shinigami for answers, but the Shinigami calmly tells him that it wasn't him. It must have been someone else. Light realizes with fear that there is another hand at work here. Meanwhile, Light's father holds a press conference, openly challenging Kira. With anger in his voice, he says if Kira has the courage, he should kill him. He tells the world that if he is killed, it will prove that Kira is a coward hiding in the shadows. Light and Mia watch this broadcast together, tense and silent. But Mia suddenly says that Light should write his father's name in the death note. Light stares at her in disbelief. How could he even think of killing his own father? He tells Mia she's lost her mind. After all, his father is the only family he has left. Mia goes quiet, but her expression shows that her obsession with the death note is only growing stronger. At the same time, 𝗟𝗲 is closely observing every move. During the press conference, he studies Light's father and waits to see if Kira will strike. But when nothing happens, 𝗟𝗲's suspicion grows stronger. To him, there's only one explanation. Kira didn't kill James because Kira is Light. Later that night, 𝗟𝗲 secretly approaches Light. For the first time, he takes off his mask and shows Light his face. He tells him straight that he knows he is Kira and urges him to stop before it's too late. But Light doesn't admit anything. He coldly ignores 𝗟𝗲's words and walks away, even as danger hangs heavier over him than ever before. Now, Mia tries to comfort him, telling Light that she loves him and that they need to get rid of 𝗟𝗲 before he exposes them. Light struggles with the decision, but in the end, Mia convinces him that they should use the death note one last time, only to get rid of 𝗟𝗲. Light then recalls one of the rules. If a page containing someone's name is burned, that person will be spared. He realizes that if anyone, even Mia, ever tried to use the death note against him, this rule could be his only way out. Light knows he has already seen 𝗟𝗲's face, but the problem is that he doesn't know his real name, and without that the death note is useless. However, he remembers that one of 𝗟𝗲's closest friends, 𝗦𝗂𝗲, might know it. So Light writes 𝗦𝗂𝗲's name in the book, forcing him under his control. He orders him to find out 𝗟𝗲's real name, no matter what it takes. And after that, he plans to burn the page with 𝗦𝗂𝗲's name, since the old man has committed no crime. 𝗦𝗂𝗲 tells Light that 𝗟𝗲 once studied at a special academy, and his original name might be in those documents. Under the Death Note's control, 𝗦𝗂𝗲 travels abroad to the academy to dig up 𝗟𝗲's true identity. Light waits anxiously, planning that once he gets the name, he will write it down, ending everything once and for all. But 𝗟𝗲 isn't foolish. He quickly realizes that his friend has vanished and suspects that Light must have manipulated him using the Death Note. For the first time, 𝗟𝗲 feels a flicker of fear. He knows that if his real name is discovered, it could mean his end. That night, 𝗟𝗲 shows up at Light's house without warning. He tells Light's father directly that his son is Kira, and that he is the one who made his friend disappear. But without solid proof, no one can believe it. Even when 𝗟𝗲 searches the house thoroughly, he finds nothing. The Death Note isn't there. Shinigami has already hidden it. Not long after, Light receives a call from 𝗦𝗂𝗲. He says he has reached the academy and only has a little time left. Just as he is about to reveal 𝗟𝗲's true name, Light opens the death note to burn the page with 𝗦𝗂𝗲's name. But the page is missing. It has been torn out. Before Light can do anything, 𝗦𝗂𝗲 dies, leaving Light devastated. The truth comes out later during a dance party. Mia pulls Light aside and confesses everything. She is the one who tore the page, and she is also the one who wrote down the names of all those police officers. And now she has written Light's name in the death note as well. His death is already set. His heart will stop at midnight. Mia coldly tells him that if he wants to survive, he must hand the book over to her. If he does, she will burn his page and save him. Light realizes too late, Mia has trapped him, and all she ever wanted was the book for herself. Meanwhile, 𝗟𝗲 grows more desperate. He confronts Light again, chasing him down. 𝗟𝗲 even calls out to a nearby chef for help, telling him that Light is 𝗬𝗲. But instead of helping, the chef knocks 𝗟𝗲 unconscious because he secretly supports 𝗬𝗲. Light escapes with Mia, and the two end up on a Ferris wheel. They get stuck at the very top, sirens echoing below as police arrive at the scene. Desperate, he pleads with Mia, telling her that if she truly loves him, they should give up the death note, end everything, and try to live a normal life together. But Mia, blinded by greed, refuses. She snatches the book from his hands. Light looks at her and says quietly that she has just made a terrible mistake. Her expression changes. She realizes the truth. Light must have written her name in the book as well. And just like that, the Ferris wheel collapses. Both of them fall. Mia crashes to the ground and dies instantly, while Light plunges into the water below. Sometime later, we see Light lying in a hospital bed. He has survived, but slipped into a coma. Meanwhile, criminals continue to die one after another, even though Light is unconscious. People begin to wonder how this is happening. After all, if 𝗟𝗲 suspected Light of being 𝗬𝗲, then how could the killings continue while he lay helpless in a coma? The truth is revealed through a flashback. As Mia and Light were falling, a single page from the death note fluttered out of the book and landed in a fire, burning away completely. That page had Light's name written on it. This was Light's ultimate trick. When he discovered that Mia had written his name, he quickly wrote in the notebook that if Mia ever took the book from him, she would die, the page with his own name would burn away, and he would fall safely into the water. Everything played out exactly as he had planned. He also wrote down the names of many other criminals beforehand, ensuring that deaths would continue even while he was unconscious, including a corrupt doctor who pulled Light out of the water and placed him into a medically induced coma, just as written, before taking his own life. Later, another criminal picked up the book and carried out Light's orders, continuing to eliminate criminals. That same man eventually delivers the death note back to Light in the hospital after Light recovers. Meanwhile, 𝗟𝗲's pursuit of 𝗬𝗲 meets a dead end. He is suspended from the case, but he refuses to give up entirely. He searches Mia's house one last time and finds the hidden page containing the names of the dead police officers and detectives. With this discovery, all the blame shifts onto Mia. In the end, Light has recovered completely, but his experiences have changed him. He now understands one thing clearly: he cannot trust anyone again. From here on, he will keep the death note to himself. And with that, the story ends.